kid is sent to foster care, oh, now they're taken care of. Like, we can just forget about them. But that's not what happened to me. It wasn't a solution. If I hadn't already been traumatized by my own father and everything I'd been through, like, foster care would have traumatized me, like, extremely. I felt like it was put on me as a kind of punishment. Everything felt like punishment. I was on probation while I was in foster care for setting that fire at the school. And anytime I violated my probation, I had to get locked up. And there was terms to it, like I had to take my medication or I'm gonna get locked up. I can't get kicked out of school or I'm gonna get locked up. And so I used that to move houses. When something was going bad in one of my foster homes, and maybe my foster dad was a little too handsy or something, or my foster mom was, I would get in trouble. I'd go to school and beat somebody up just so I could get suspended, because that would break my probation, which meant I would have to go to court and I would have to get locked up. Every time I messed up my probation, I automatically got locked up for 3 months. And so I knew that after getting locked up, I would get to go to a new home. So that's what I would do when nobody would listen to me about needing to move. Sometimes I would tell my caseworkers, I need to get the fuck out of here. And they wouldn't listen, so then I would go to school and act crazy. And I would get locked up, and when I got locked up, I would get crazy. As soon as I got locked up, the day I would walk in there, I'd pick out who I knew was, I don't know, maybe somebody that might think that they could bully me, and I would pick that person out. And I would beat them up. And it's not just beating somebody up, it's what my father taught me. He didn't show any weakness. He wasn't afraid to hurt you. So that made me a different kind of fighter when I would fight, because I wasn't afraid to hurt anybody. I'm not afraid to go for your neck, your eyes, your head. And I noticed right away when other kids fought, they would be afraid to really hurt somebody. And so I would do that. I would go after somebody. And right away I'd get put in solitary confinement for 10 days. And then when you come out of solitary, they won't let you interact with the general population right away. Like if you eat with them, you gotta eat with your back to them, like they're facing the table, your back's to them, you put your tray, right here. And you sit there and you're just not a part. You're not welcomed yet. But, when they would let me out of solitary, I'd usually jump on somebody else within the first hour and beat them up too. And then I would get put back into solitary for another 10 days. And then when they'd let me out, everything would be fine. Just give me a book, I'll read, I love the Count of Monte Cristo. You guys have a copy of that? Because I always needed to establish the fact at first that, I wanted people to think I was crazy. Don't fuck with me, I'm crazy. I wasn't crazy at all, but I used it, I guess, to protect myself. My mother, I found this out recently, she did the same thing with my father. She would act crazy with him on purpose to make him stop hurting her. If she knew that he was going to hurt her, do something to her, she'd run away. One time she burned her arm with an iron. I remember one time I was maybe 4 or 5 and she came out of the bedroom and her arm was just bloody and dripping and she had jeans wrapped around her. And my dad said, come look and see what your mother did. Look at what she did. So she's coming into the kitchen dripping blood and I come walking in there and I look at her and she's just dripping blood. And my dad's just screaming at me to look at her. And I asked my mother about that recently and she told me, no, she wasn't trying to kill herself. She was trying to protect herself from my father, because when she would start acting crazy and she would hurt herself, my father would leave her alone. He would feel bad, and she wouldn't have to go through whatever the hell he had planned for her. And so that was her defense.
Where is it?
And it became my defense.
Must be hers. What's going on?
And when I would get locked up, I was never crazy. I was never that crazy. I was protect myself. And it worked. But also when that's how you act all the time. The type of energy you put out is what you're gonna receive back. Some people start treating you like I was crazy. And like I was just unreachable. No adult in my life was gonna be able to reach me, so I just kept getting tossed around to worse and worse homes. I had a file this thick. Whatever foster parents took me had to read that first before they decided to take me in. And it came with more money, so it wasn't the nicer homes that took me in. It was the worst ones that took me in, that wanted the money. When I went into foster care, my sisters didn't go. It was just me. They got to stay home with my mom. But a couple of years after I went in, my sisters were older at the time when they went in. They were 16 and 17. And my older sister, she got married to my age, but she went in foster care. And my middle sister, she got adopted by a nice white family, put braces on her teeth, took her shopping at the mall, loved her, hugged her. She graduated from the University of Michigan. She turned out all right, but I guess because she was an adult kid, and she but I ended up slipping through the cracks of the system because I had to act crazy to get through it.
Medical team, please report. Operation Major McCain for rescue briefing.
Two teams still haven't reported.
I ended up getting pregnant when I was 13 with my son. And I was still in foster care at the time.
4 hours ago, Marine
And I ended up... It was a whole fiasco. My boyfriend at the time, my son's dad, he ended up robbing a store and doing all this shit because he thought he was in high school, had a kid on the way. I guess he was going crazy. He didn't know. And this was a nice little country boy when I met him.
I took my research on the drugs.
And
Secure those samples. Let's
I guess after a while he wasn't, and his family, I think, kind of blamed me or something because I was this city girl that was too fast for the nice country girl. I ended up moving to Jackson, Michigan when I had my son. His dad got out of, he ended up getting caught robbing the store, and he got out of community at the time because he was only 17 maybe when he did it. And he got out like a month before I had my son. So I had my son, I'm still in my same foster home, but my foster mom, she ended up, things were okay there at first. They were okay. And then I think she got really angry at me for being pregnant when I was 13. She couldn't have kids of her own. And she started not starving me, but really restricting my food, like, you know, you can only have 1 egg and 1/2 pound for breakfast, like that's it. You know, there's one sandwich with only so many pieces of meat for lunch, like that's all you get. And I'm like, I'm pregnant right now, I'm hungry. Like, it was messed up. So I didn't get out of there until about a month after I had my son. Oh, because she also used me as, like, she wanted me to do all the housework, all the cleaning and cooking, and like, I just had a baby. Like, you really want me in here, you know, cooking and washing dishes and doing mopping and all this? I can't. So my foster mom, I guess she was just, that's what I think happened. I think she was mad at me for having kids when she couldn't. And so now me and my boyfriend got a kid, and now we're on our own, and we're like adults now. Yeah, sure, fuck it. I've been making all my own decisions my entire life. Like, this is not a big deal. It's really not. And at the time, my son, he's small, and I know I'm supposed to hold him. It's crazy. Like, I read this book called What to Expect the First Year. It's what you read, like, when you're trying to have a kid, to know, like, what's going on with them the first year of their life, so you can recognize, like, illnesses or just anything, you know, and their developmental milestones, so you can keep track of it and you know what's going on with your kids. So I read that book, and that was, like, the only guidance I had to being a parent. Like, I didn't know anything else besides what was in this book. But I knew, like, you know, I love him, and so I do that, and I'm breastfeeding him, and I'm trying to be the best mother possible at 14, 15, but I have all this anger and trauma, and sometimes I had this problem with, like, being touched, like, affectionately. Like, no one had ever really touched me affectionately, like, in a safe way. You know, my mom, she really didn't hug me or kiss me on the forehead. That had something to do with it. Mom didn't do that. And no one did that with me. And I know I'm supposed to hug my son and hold him and love him, so that's what I do. But sometimes it's too hard. I couldn't stand for him to touch me. My skin would crawl. And I didn't want that to happen. So I kept holding him. And at the same time, my boyfriend was saying, gosh, we had sex all the time, but I couldn't hold his hand. I couldn't be affectionate with him. I never met somebody that wants to have sex so much that doesn't have any kind of affection. And when I was like 14 and 15, I didn't know why I was like that. I didn't know what was wrong with me. But I couldn't stop being angry. I had all this hate from my father, and it was weighing me down all the time. It was so heavy. And after some time, maybe when I was around 15, I realized that it was too heavy for me to carry around. I had to let it go. Like, he was still controlling me. I hadn't seen this man, you know, since I was 10 years old, and somehow he was still running my thoughts every single day. I'm like, how do you let somebody do that to you when you haven't even, they're controlling you and you haven't even seen them? So I'm like, I gotta stop. I gotta stop. So I guess it had to do with the control. I always wanted to be in control of everything around me.
Let's go.
You know, I wanted to call the shots, and I felt like my dad was calling shots when he was always in my head. And so that made me drop it really quick. I'm like, yeah, no, he's not in control anymore. So I let go of that part, you know, of the trauma. I stopped hating him. my son was around 4. That was when I started to spank him. And I thought that because I wasn't beating him, like breaking his bones, I wasn't sexually abusing him. I'm like, yeah, spanking's okay. You can spank a kid when they need to get spanked. And so, like, once in a while, he'd get, a smack on his butt for something. And then by the time he was like 6, maybe, the first time I spanked him he was 4. And then by the time he was like 6, there was a moment where I kind of lost control. He got in trouble at school, and he came home.
Seal the gates. Protect
And
the Emperor.
I'm questioning him, like, why did you do this or why did you do that? And I slapped his face because he's not answering me. And this is the first time I put my hands on his face, or, didn't just try to give him what I thought at the time was just like, a little spanking, because I felt like, I don't know how to discipline kids, but this doesn't seem that bad. And plus, I'm not a man. I would not allow his father to ever touch me. Because I was like, no, you're too strong, your hands are too big. And, like, if he's going to be punished, I'll spank him. And so that's how I was. And then this one incident, I started slapping him. And slapping his face. Asking him why he did something, and I was slapping him over and over, and his face was getting redder and redder.